Okay.
So on my Twitter client, which is a black background, because I use like a not official Twitter client,
Yeah.
I could not read the logo. It was just their squid guy.
Like on
Slightly
TweetDeck
to
or
the
something?
left.
It was unreadable
Yeah,
on
yeah.
TweetDeck?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah. So I guess,
You couldn't read the words.
yeah. But I knew, because I knew the squid.
Because you use night mode?
Well, it's just an all black. It's like a real slick,
Okay.
like all black Twitter thing.
What the heck? Which one is it?
It's called Phoenix.
Some weird
I don't even know
program.
if it's still around,
Oh,
and
okay.
I think it's only on Android.
Oh, okay.
But I'll show you, and you'll be like, "Wow, that looks pretty slick." Yeah,
Yeah, that's nice.
that's pretty quick. And also, look at me, I'm scrolling up. 2 days ago, catching up on tweets. So if I have like doctor's appointment, waiting in an airport,
Right.
I got an abundance of stuff to catch up on.
Oh, that's good.
Could you say some more things to get the levels?
Yeah. I'm saying more things. This is probably how loud I'm talking, unless Keir says something super funny, which case I'll go,
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah. No peaks.
Yeah, it's weird. Some people were really peeking at Full Indie Summit. They were like
Were you in a crowded space?
screaming. No, it's not. It's not bad with the
worked out.
directional.
Was
It's
it-
just like
Was it Nels Anderson?
no,
Or Jesse
Nell's
Turner?
no.
Michael
It
Nicanor?
was Tam Balaya.
Oh, I don't know Tam.
That's her Twitter account. She's making like an NES synth.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Yeah, did you see that?
No.
Or not NES? Sorry, Game Boy.
Game Boy synth.
Yeah, so she had
So
like
she's making the
She
synth.
made like a Game Boy ROM to like use the Game Boy's audio hardware
Yeah.
to make like this weird art. Like it's like half
So
visual.
it's not just doing chip tunes. It's like a whole thing.
It's like a whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's like illegal, like NES or Game Boy dev kits.
Oh, yeah. There'd have to be.
That I don't know if there has to be.
I don't think they're making illegal ones.
Yeah, but I just
I don't think
know.
they ever did.
I can't fathom how that stuff.
Like dev kits.
not-
dev kits when Game Boy was around were just Game Boys because only Nintendo was working on them.
Yeah, so I don't know how.
That might not be true, actually. There were third-party games for
Yeah,
Nintendo.
there's probably dev, and also there's
Or
like
Game Boy.
I don't know. There's a lot of dev kits around the world, and
Mm-hmm.
they care less and less as time goes on. And I bet if you're like strapped for cash, you could sell a Nintendo DS,
On the black
like original
market
DS, like just to some guy on Craigslist.
in exchange for a fresh kidney.
Nintendo would probably not catch you.
Sounds like some Silk Road stuff to me. Here.
Okay.
Okay.
Shall we go? What's your name and what's your game?
My name is Gordon McGladdery, and my game is a lot of different games.
Yeah, but we're talking about. Well, we can talk about whatever.
Okay, but we're talking about Wander Song?
I mean that'd probably
be the smart one to
optimal
do.
thing concerning
Yeah.
the time frame.
Marketing.
It's out now or yesterday or tomorrow.
Whenever you release this.
This week, last week. It's
It was
probably out.
or will be out on September 27th,
Just not
2018,
today.
depending on when you listen to this. We're launching on Switch, PC, Mac.
So yeah, what's your role on the game?
I'm only doing the music. So I run A Shell in the Pit, and we do sound for games.
A lot of games.
So technically our studio is doing all the sound for Wander Song, but I didn't touch the sound. M
Ooh, that's a good thing.
M Halberstadt did all the sound.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that also means she mixed the game, so her role was actually kind of more supervisory than mine in this instance, which was kind of nice.
But your thing, yeah, is that the first time you've kind of done that kind of collaborative role like that?
Not really. Like, I usually give everyone their game. Like, Rachel's not working on one of her games right now. She's working on a trailer. But so, like, Rachel's doing... Well, that wasn't the original plan. Rachel's been doing most of Eichenfeld.
Is Rachel making a trailer right now?
Yes. No, Rachel's capturing for a trailer right now.
So, wait, okay, we got a sidebar on this.
Yeah.
So she's going in, capturing footage, sounds amazing, because Sean the Pit did the sound.
We did not do the sound for this one. So that's something that we're, like, we're
Oh, are
playing
you
with.
guys pitching? Or are you guys sending one of those?
No,
like,
we've been commissioned to just do a trailer for Humble.
Weird.
Yeah, so because they saw M's edits. We did the trailers for Wander Song. We did the Eichenfeld trailer as well, just because we're doing those games anyways.
Yeah. And
And
Marlon.
our
And
con-
Marlon's locked up.
Marlon has been snatched
He's
up by
braced.
Ryan. So he's braced.
There's at least a trailer a week void in the indie game world
exactly,
right now.
exactly. We're like not nearly at his level as far as juice goes.
Yeah.
I think we need to figure out our particle effects and our fancy motion graphics and stuff.
I mean,
but I think we're pretty good at the linear thing
so
already.
you guys aren't doing the audio.
And by we, I mean Em and Rachel. I'm just kind of like overseeing, but
yeah. So you guys not doing the audio for this game.
We did not do the audio for this game, but we did
We're doing the trailer.
I did the music for the trailer. Okay, I did work on it. I worked on the trailer. I did the music for it. And then Rachel did all the capturing and the rough cut, and then Em came in and did the fine cut. And then we will be outsourcing our motion graphics stuff. Because we have to get some fancy motion graphics. We don't have anyone in-house.
That's so wild that you guys are doing trailers for games that...
Yeah, it just kind of fell on our lap, and are we opportunists, Rachel? I guess. Yeah. So we opportunisted it.
Is that the company mantra? We're opportunists.
Yeah, I don't think that would be a very good one. I don't think that would fly well with the indie crowd. We were opportunists. We were opportunists in this instance.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, like indies, we like to be resourceful, and I guess being an opportunist falls into that. So.
Yeah, and is this the way? Is this like an exciting direction for the company?
Yeah,
like,
big time.
We're just gonna do whatever.
Well, like we've worked on dozens of trailers, and we're usually really closely tied to the overall production of the thing because a lot of the time the music has to be done first. So usually, if we're working with Marlon or Derek or Joshua or Kurt, they'll give us the general idea of the trailer, and then I'll write the music that the arc goes along the same sort of shape as the general idea, and then a lot of the time the whole trailer will just be like timed along the song, and they might take the music and do a couple rough edits.
I never even thought
it's way easier to edit if you already have the song.
Yeah, I never.
Because then you know all your beats are, your dramatic arc, like the music usually drives that.
Sense.
Yeah,
I bet there's people out there doing it the other way, and it's like
it can be really painful. And I know
scoring music to.
I know composers that are really good at that. Like Riley Koenig is really good at cramming his music into an edit that is locked, but it's really hard to make that sound like it was intentional.
And then I imagine that's probably like only for the trailer. I mean, that would be probably repurpose it, but
yeah.
Whereas like.
I mean, that's what you do. You might do for a movie, though, right? Like the movie, a lot of the time you edit, but that's what causes a lot of frustration for composers. A lot of the time, so composers haven't got to compose for this. Would be in film, and this would never happen in games. But the
Question Bus isn't a video games only podcast.
Okay, so
the only constant is that there's an interview. No, it's not only video games.
Oh, it's not only video games.
I've interviewed a rapper. I've interviewed a visual artist.
Yeah,
I've interviewed. Modders, but it's not. There's no bounds on the Question Bus.
We're solid. So what happens is that the film editors will edit to temp tracks, to temp music, and then they fall in love with it. And this does happen in games as well, but then the composers just have to come in and kind of mimic that temp track. And so that's why a lot of the superhero movies all sound exactly the same, just because they're using like a lot of the same temp tracks.
I thought that was just analytics.
It's probably a bit of both, but there's an interview with like Danny Elfman and everyone, and they say it's mainly the temp tracks problem. Yeah, and so they're just like everybody's just using the same tracks because it's probably a lot of editors that are editing the same movie over and over again, and they're just like, well, this track always works here, and then they show their edit to the director, and the director's like, love music. Let's get Danny Elfman to do that, but just not enough of that. So we don't get sued by the original composer.
Where do they get that temp music?
Other movies. So it'll be stuff. It won't be like music that is supposed to be temp music. It'll be. They'll grab like the theme from The Godfather or something and stuff that in.
Do people ever do that with games? Do you ever like when you start working on a game?
Yeah. Like... They'll have temp music. It doesn't happen to us as much, but I know there was a huge problem. It's happened at EA with like the original what's the snowboarding game SSX? Yeah, they had. I know EA has fallen in love the developers are just using whatever temp mix that's top 40 music, and then they're like, sweet, well, the song's good to go, right? And everybody's like, no, we don't have the rights for that.
Yeah.
And then, but the producers or the higher ups might be so in love with it that are like, well, I guess we have to pay like $20 million for the license or something ridiculous.
Yeah. I always wonder about that too, because I feel like people know now. Like, I think the golden era was kind of the like mid or like early 2000s to like before the 360 generation was when you could get a lot of like probably licensed music real cheap.
Maybe.
And I feel like it's now.
I don't know.
Like,
the record labels have always been really aggressive.
Yeah.
For like decades.
Have you heard any like numbers on what that stuff costs?
Yeah, the first commercial gig I ever had was for Purina dog food, and I got the gig because the production company I was working for, who we still work with actually, it's like one of our only non-game clients, left nice fella in St. Louis. He was like, okay, Purina wants Ray LaMontagne, like one of his big songs.
Yeah.
And so I went and I talked to Ray LaMontagne's people, and they wanted $500,000 for the sync license and another $500,000 for the mechanical.
Sync license being they sing it.
You have to get a license for the composition and you have to get a license for the performance. So that's why the Beatles music, for when Michael Jackson held all the copyright, that's why you'd always hear covers, because I think that's the sync license. I think is the composition license, and it was cheaper.
Huh.
Yeah. So.
And you guys have you guys worked on anything?
I never worked like that. No.
Have you guys worked on any game that licensed like top 40?
No.
Music?
No, we've only worked on indies, and nobody we've worked with could ever afford to license a top 40 track.
So,
and games make it all hard and different anyways, because it has to be, suddenly you have to make it dynamic.
Yeah.
You'd have to get your hands on the stems, which is never easy.
Yeah,
probably.
I imagine people don't want to give that.
I think it's possible.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, like, I mean, Sound Shapes had...
Like Rock Band's able to get it.
Sound Shapes had Beck in it.
It did?
Yeah, that was...
Sound Shapes. Yeah.
But that's like...
But did they work with Beck on that?
I think
they might have.
I imagine...
Sorry, I was thinking of Shapes and Beats. And I was like...
cool. Oh, yeah, just Shapes and
Beats. I was
like,
Latch got Beck?
Is that out?
Yeah.
Okay. The last 3 podcasts I've had him on, it's like, it's coming out 3 months.
No, it came out this year, and at Wales.
Did you guys do that?
No.
No, do you get a lot of people guessing, like thinking you did a game that you didn't do?
Not immediately. Sometimes just because we collaborate with Power Up so often, that gets confused, but that's like, that would obviously happen.
Yeah.
Just because I'll have done the music, but I also run a sound company, and they'll have done the sound effects, but also sometimes they license, or they commission composers. So that gets confusing.
Was throughout your entire collaboration with Power Up, was kind of having your own sound design company a thing that was in your mind?
That wasn't never the plan. Not really.
No, you were just gonna.
Yeah, I was like originally sort of their primary outsourcer for sound effects and music. And then they wanted to hire me full time, but then I just had too many of my own contracts going already. Like I think I was might have still been working on Rogue Legacy.
Oh.
That was done, but Oaklos was underway. Parkitect was underway. A few other games were already going.
Yeah.
And I think I might have been like, Jeff, why don't you just like buy these from me and then I'll come work with you. We just like didn't want to deal with the contract mess, so we just became 2 different companies that are still pals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys do a lot of referrals back and forth?
Mostly them to me. Yeah. Their marketing is a lot stronger, so they get a lot more.
You got the better shirt though.
We have a better shirt. Don't put that on there. I don't want them to hear that.
I had Ty Taylor.
They'll get so sensitive about it.
I had Ty Taylor rank the members of Power Up Audio on the Validity episode, and I think everybody but Joey.
I like the Power Up shirts. I just can't wear them because it gets confusing.
Oh yeah.
Since I was their prime outsourcer for so long, I was like on their website. I might still be on their website to this day.
You got a good shot. That's the problem.
It's a good picture. I got such a good picture that I'm still going to use the picture. But I can't wear the shirt because then people are like, "Oh yeah, you work for Power Up."
Do you have to explain the whole shirt thing to people?
The Power Up, the octopus?
No, like wearing.
If I wear a Power Up shirt, it would be problematic.
But like people wear like I wear a bunch of people's shirts.
Yeah.
In like support, where it's like I don't wear a lot of logoed shirts unless it's people I know.
Yeah, me either. I wear band shirts and game shirts.
But like to explain
that people give me for free.
Like I try to explain it to people and it's like it's somewhat confusing.
I'm kind of just like, why would I ever buy a shirt to advertise somebody
there's limited colors. Like I'm wearing a pink shirt there's not a lot of pink video game shirts that I've come across or has been free. Well, that's part of it.
We're going to try to change that.
Is the shirt...
Oh, free.
The shirt karma, right? Like every time I do a question bus order, I give them away because it's like, I got the Power Up shirt. I got to sell them the pink shirt.
I owed you one.
Yeah. So it's good. Why is the Wonder Song soundtrack so long?
Because the game had very specific needs, and it's a music-based game, and the game's really long. Greg had every single song planned, so Greg had 110 or whatever songs planned from the beginning.
And did he
not from the beginning, but it's built into the design of the game.
So did he have reference tracks for a lot of them?
Oh yeah, almost every one.
And so you pretty much just took the reference track and either redid it.
Well, a lot of the time, because at the beginning, Greg didn't have that many reference tracks, and then I was like, references are good, but you can be creative with your references, whereas I like the feel of this song, but I like the instrumentation of this song, and I like the tempo of this song. So it'd be multiple references. Mm-hmm. And so we're not just doing sound-alikes ever. Mm-hmm. And I've never been good at doing sound-alikes anyways, so it's more about that's the easiest way to zone in on an emotional tone rather than just trying to make a song that sounds like another song.
Bye, Rachel.
Bye.
Are the songs dynamic?
Yes. Not all of them, but a lot of them.
What?
Record our door for us, please. Do it again.
I'm also not sure what
it's a minor third.
I throw everything through Levelator, so I don't know what it's going to do to that. Because
fun!
It sometimes brings up random noises to the same level.
Yeah, hopefully that'll be up at the same level.
So, with the dynamic songs, your Spotify is not going to be dynamic.
No.
So how do you get that?
I had to go through all the dynamic songs and arrange them into linear album versions. Which
you just dumping it all at once?
The album?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's uploaded. It should ideally all come out on the 27th with the launch of the game on Spotify, and it'll be on Bandcamp for sure.
It's 100 songs.
110 songs in the main album, and then the Bandcamp version will have 30 B-sides or something. So we think it might be the longest. I'm going to say it's the longest indie game soundtrack. No one's challenged us on this.
Yeah. Might as well claim it.
Yeah,
also,
that's never the goal.
Exclusive.
Yeah.
Audio exclusive.
Yeah.
I've seen you tweet it, but not say it.
Yeah.
Do you think, when budgeting for this game, how valuable do you think the soundtrack's going to be?
If EA had commissioned me to do this soundtrack, it would have been about a quarter of $1,000,000. But it's great.
That would be a lot to make off of streaming.
Yeah, that would not ever happen from streaming.
Is it weird making a lot? Because you obviously made a long ass soundtrack because the game's long and needed it, and it just...
Yeah, I just wanted to work with Greg. And also, it was this is a crazy idea. It was kind of an Everest. I was like, let's just see if I can do it.
Yeah.
And there were times when I thought I had made a very stupid decision taking on this game.
How many tracks in? So like 20 tracks in, you were like, oh, there's no way.
Like, oh god. No, well, I think 20 tracks in, I thought I was going pretty good.
Yeah.
Because I was sticking to my...
How long have you been working on it?
Almost 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So, because I started it out, I was like, okay, we can do 100 tracks.
One song every 10 days.
Like, everybody, I'll just have to keep it minimalist. We'll just keep everything really simple.
Yeah.
And that lasted for, like, the first act and a half. And then after that, it was just, my business as usual, 60 to 200 track songs. Just not simple at all. Just... And a lot of it had to do because Greg is pulling out these, like, really professional, like, these really ornate references a lot of the time. And I couldn't think of any way to do them simply.
And you're also one person.
Yeah.
So he pulls out an orchestra.
And I'm like, okay, guess we'll figure this out. Yeah, there is some orchestral stuff.
Is it weird that it's kind of a format that does well for streaming? Like Chris Brown, whatever you think of Chris Brown aside, his last album was like 40 songs.
Okay.
And it was
That's
just
huge.
kind of like... But it performs better on streaming? Because it's just like keeping them in the album is a certain amount of streams.
My last big soundtrack was over 2 hours long. The Full Metal Furious soundtrack. I think it is okay for streaming because it is kind of a more passive way of listening to music.
Yeah.
That people will just let play for 4 hours. Like, playlists are insane.
Yeah.
Some playlists are like 100 hours long.
Do you get breakdowns of revenue from...
I do.
Searches and playlists and all that?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. And I get, like, everything always spikes on Monday because I think that's when Spotify will put you on playlists from time to time. So it's kind of like this weekly rotation of you showing up on other people's playlists.
Huh. How'd you name them?
The playlists?
The songs.
Oh, the songs? Greg did. I'm like that, and I'm really happy he did because I was not looking forward to it.
Did not.
Yeah,
Is it not easy for you
I
to
was
name?
literally like, Greg, can you name the songs? And I think he was like, oh yeah, I assumed I would.
Is there any messaging in the?
I don't think we've got anything like
puzzles.
I don't think there's any crypto stuff in the titles, but there are a couple tiny audio secrets. It might only be in one track, but there's a pretty fun one. Yeah.
Is this the first like music game you'd say you've worked on?
Yeah, I think so.
I imagine this wasn't what most people think.
But at the same time, it's not like I don't even think of it as a music game. It's an adventure game, and I think that's like how we're leaning our marketing and stuff too. It's way more an adventure game than a music game. You can play it with the sound off.
Yeah. Don't do that.
You don't. It wouldn't be good. As good. But you can. You can play. You can play that. You can get through the whole story without hearing anything. Greg's design has accounted for that.
Are you envious of mobile developers with their passive aggressive? Please put on the headphones.
No, we had that with Splitter Critters.
Was that your idea?
No, I think it was their idea because a lot of the time mobile developers that actually care about sound have spent some money on it and they want people to hear it.
Yeah.
Because they think correctly that it contributes to the experience and makes the game better.
Was any of the sound effects kind of because he's going around singing?
Yeah,
I imagine a lot of the sound effects are musical.
Yes.
In nature.
Yeah, tons.
Is that given you were collaborating that with them?
Yeah.
How'd that
we
work out?
we always communicated what the key was. So there is like a little kind of puzzle with the keys, the music keys throughout the acts. It's not really a puzzle so much as it's like symbolism. yeah, we got it. We have an act in the key of W.
I don't know. You go up and down octaves. You can move down the alphabet.
Oh yeah, I guess we could write it out in MIDI. No, nothing that fancy. But so Am always knew what key we were in, so we always know which notes are going to work. And so there are a lot of the sound effects she would make musical, which adds a lot of sound effect work.
Mm-hmm.
That's why more people don't do it.
Yeah.
Is because you now have to make, four sets of the same sound that are in the right key, maybe.
Yeah. And a lot of the
rather
time
than
it's
just one.
not them hitting a keyboard. It's them running through a bush.
Yeah, it's like
jumping on a platform.
It's like the fish are jumping out of the water and they do little gling, like singing things, and there's musical footsteps in a bunch of areas and stuff like that.
Is the whole game limited to keys, or are you kind of all over the place?
The game did limit the keys, so we have, because we didn't want to have to worry about M making new sound effects for every song, so we would limit the acts by keys, and but then the BPM would always be communicated between Greg and I.
Was that?
And M, because some of the background ambiences would have, a rhythm to them.
How did that back and forth with the BPM go? Is that like, I want the level to kind of control like this and these BPMs make sense, or is it? No,
I would just usually write the music in any BPM I wanted, and then Greg would just make it work. And the Bard actually, like, all his footsteps are in BPM as well, so his speed changes with the music.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, and
that's cool.
You could dub, but just to make sure that it's always natural, Greg might double it or half it or whatever.
So what was like revisions like, or was it just so grand that revisions were not?
Revisions were minimal, but Greg would just come over and work with me. So he would literally be sitting in the room. So it's not like I'm sending him files and he's revising them. He's just like being Greg on the floor behind me. Like, I called him, Greg's like my third cat. Have you seen Greg and Noel Berry programming? It's just wherever. They're like draped over the arm of an empty couch.
I've seen them.
Or like sideways on a, like their back will be on the chair and just like.
Yeah, I definitely have. I don't really want to code without forearm support.
Very cat-like kids. So Greg would just be like programming away on the floor of my studio. I set up like a proper workstation for him eventually. And so it's literally just like play something back and Greg will tell me what he likes or doesn't like and we'll change it. And sometimes it would be songs that he wrote a bunch of the basic melodies as well, which was really fun.
And did the game, did it grow? Like, did you go into it knowing you're going to be doing 100 tracks?
Kinda. Not literally, but
did you know
I think when I saw seeing the first act and being like, oh, there's 20 whatever songs in the first track, or in the first act, how many acts are there? And then kind of doing the math and being like, wow, I really got myself into something.
Is this the most work?
Yes.
You put into a game?
Yes.
Is that?
No, I haven't been like super stressed out about it. I've definitely been more stressed out on projects.
Yeah.
And having Greg come over and work with me did make that a lot easier.
Well, also, I can't imagine Greg stressing you out.
No. Greg's never stressed anyone out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, is this being the most amount of time that, like, your company has put towards something?
Probably, yeah. It's probably our biggest game hours-wise. It's hard to tell. We didn't start tracking hours until 2 years ago. So it's got like 7 months or something unaccounted for.
So you track hours of every game?
Yeah, it'll just make it easier for estimating what other games we're pitching for are going to take.
And also I imagine that helps like prioritizing too, because there's probably some games that ask more of you and some games that ask less, and you're like, well, this game, like, we haven't really done.
Yeah, this will be kind of like, this is the max.
Yeah.
This is the max of what something can ask for us. But a lot of the time that's driven by what type of client someone is too. And Greg's an easygoing guy and also a very good director.
And by himself, so he's kind of like...
Greg knows what he wants.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of trying stuff out until it works with him, which I consider good direction, whereas not as good direction is we'll know it when we hear it.
Ugh. That's you shouldn't say that, right?
No, I would avoid it.
On both sides.
Yeah. No, I've been a bad client before too, so I understand.
Yeah.
Like I have definitely hired artists for whatever business, graphic designer, like business cards and stuff, and being like, "You're the artist. You just do what you do." and then they come back with something that's not what I want, and I'm like, I should have never said that.
But that's what I do
should have
with the
provided
question
some
bus
directions.
logos.
Yeah.
I say it has to have a bus.
Yes.
And then other than that, I don't care.
Right.
Really.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But I think I've given even less direction than that before to artists, and that was a bad move.
Is it exciting or scary? It being kind of the for sake of this conversation, the biggest game you guys have worked on as far as like time committed to it.
It's fine. I'm not terrified because our business model is at a state where if this game tanks, we're fine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not like the old days where everything was 100%. Where everything we're working on is 100% revenue share, and like we're just losing everything when things go under.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not scared. I obviously hope it does really well.
Yeah.
And I am optimistic that it will, and it feels like a less, hope-driven, but not fact-driven optimism than usual.
What do you mean?
Like there's just more buzz, you know?
Yeah.
Greg's launch tweet got like 5,000 likes or something, so I have more room for optimism than a lot of the time. Your heart feels good about the game, but nothing else. Nothing else reflects that in the zeitgeist. So this time I'm feeling better than usual.
Is this the type of thing you guys want to be doing moving forward? Like, do you want to be working on kind of fewer games that are bigger?
I'm not really sure what I want to be. Like, we want to keep working on these uplifting indie games that are, largely non-violent and colorful and just aren't what everyone else is doing. That's kind of been our niche so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why the uplifting, colorful?
I think there's just not enough of it in games in general.
And do you feel like other audio, there's like more kind of audio buzz for the other stuff?
I mean, generally, and this is pegging a lot, like this is making a pretty broad swath, but a lot of people, like when I went to school, it's, getting into sound design. This would be more on sound design than music, but a lot of people getting into sound design are, A, dudes, and B, all they want to do make us sci-fi gunshots and big robots and sci-fi. And I love doing sci-fi too, but also saw that there's this huge space for more delicate sounds and more nuanced emotional sound design and soundscapes and arcs and thinking about things from a almost like literature like perspective, where we can insert deeper storylines into the sound itself. I don't know if you like M's talk on M's Night in the Woods talk from last year at GDC. That's the kind of thing that we really like doing.
Yeah. Is that something that comes up to your potential clients a lot? Like, do people come and they're like, "Hey, I got this sci-fi gun game," and you're like, "This isn't really what we do"?
We are actually pitching for one right now, but I'll probably be doing it entirely on my own. No one else on my team really wants to do it. Yeah. Joey and I both do like our shooters.
Yeah.
So Joey and I we do the games with the violence.
Yeah.
Because we still like that, but I'm not going to ask Rachel or Em to do it because it's not something that they enjoy or even support. And
I imagine you probably find that they do better work. Like, do you find that
I don't want anybody working on something they don't want to be working on.
But do you find that your team does better work when they are really passionate about it?
Oh yeah. For sure.
How's the going from like kind of a solo person doing all this to having a very large team?
I don't know. It's kind of crept up on me. I was a hand-to-mouth contractor. Then I was a busy hand-to-mouth contract. Like,
is that like soup to nuts?
Yeah, basically. Maybe. Just, just paying the bills.
Yeah.
Yeah. Paycheck to
with
paycheck.
With your hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you're just eating the money.
That's what it is.
I don't know. I don't know I don't know the etymology of the idiom.
Yeah.
But so I was, I was a new contractor just out of school. Then I was a busy contractor doing a lot of outsourcing for Power Up and a few of my other games. And then fast forward, I had a hit right out of the gate. I fluked the fuck out.
Yeah.
With
a hell of a game.
Rogue Legacy.
Rogue Legacy, hell of a game.
And but also Shellraiser, too, was a hit as well. My first two games were hits, almost unlike anything I've seen since. Almost. Which was like huge fluke, massive
except Wandersong.
Piece of luck, except Wandersong.
Yeah.
After this podcast comes out post-launch. So that was massive fluke. I definitely recognize how lucky that was, and will probably never happen again.
That's a good way to think. It'll never happen again.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm kind of proud of where my business model is right now.
Yeah.
We are not relying on that ever happening again.
Yeah. Do you have that goal amount of games? Because I hear Power Up, because I'm close to Power Up because I did the audio for Darkest Dungeon. Spent a lot more time with them.
Yeah.
I hear Jeff talking about we want to try and work on X many games a year.
No. We don't. I'm more month to month, just making sure we're making enough to maintain our contingency. I like to have like a really large contingency, so that we're never have to lay anyone off. Ethical employment is like my big thing right now. I want to be more stable than a AAA.
It's beautiful,
and I think so far we are.
AAA is. I mean, it seems more stable.
It's illusory,
but it's really hard to get somebody to pay for 200 people to make a game.
Yeah.
And you basically don't know until you ship.
Yeah.
Whether you're going to... And I mean, maybe some people are doing multi-game deals, but I think for the average AAA, it's like, this has to go well, so they'll give us the money again.
Yeah. So they're making the first mistake that I really try to avoid is that they only have like this one source of income. And they'll have merch and everything else, but it will all be reliant on one IP a lot of the time.
What are some I imagine streaming.
So we get music. Well, our main thing is that we have multiple games that we're working on. So we have
trailers,
up to 15, 20 IPs that we work on at any given time that will turn into future income or are providing income right now. So. And that means we'll also be splitting up the types of income that we're making. Some games want to pay up front. That provides current sustainability. Some games prefer to do a revenue share. That provides passive income for later. So that means we'll be getting income from...
Do you have like an ideal mix for that, or is it kind of like...
I have like a sliding scale.
Yeah.
Okay. So as long as we're making basically our and this is just standard business, but it's like as long as we make our overhead times 2. That's usually the goal, but that's our minimum required. That's what we have to make to be a sustainable company. So when I'm doing my math, it's like, okay, this is what we have to hit. Hopefully, that's the thing with revenue share. It's always a risk.
Yeah.
So you always have to bump that up a bit because you should be rewarded for your risk.
Yeah.
It's like
definitely
any like a publisher or anything. It's just we're giving time instead of money.
Yeah. But I mean, like, you try to balance that, like, half your games are, like, you have that kind of...
Yeah.
That you try and stay between. But, of course, if somebody...
Yeah, like, ideally we'll always...
Ken Levine walks in, apologies if you're working with him, and he's like, hey, I got this game.
Yeah.
I want you to do the audio for it. It's going to be huge. Then you might be like, okay, the scale's maybe a little bit...
yeah, exactly. Well, some companies will not ever pay revenue share, right? Because it doesn't make sense for them, and it doesn't really make a lot of sense for us a lot of the time because they'll be like, we have 50 employees.
And you don't want to be only on revenue share.
No,
like
not
if
usually.
You're working on
revenue share for us right now is reserved for indies that have like shipped nothing but are doing something we think is really beautiful, and they have no money.
Yeah. So
then we'll be like, okay, we believe in your project, and we believe in you. It's usually you first before the project.
Yeah.
That will be like, okay, we'll take no money up front for this. But if the game goes gangbusters, then we'll make a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. hopefully.
So yeah, you got the multiple games, you got streaming. I imagine you're
music
still doing
stuff.
some outsource work from time to time.
When we still do. We don't really do much outsource work anymore. PowerUp's got themselves. They've got themselves taken care of. I think we've done some stuff for them, but not in the recent future or recent past.
Recent past.
But we also have non-game clients. We do smarter everyday stuff. We get to do some stuff for Phantom cameras coming up. That's pretty exciting. They make all the slow motion cameras.
Ooh.
We do smarter everyday.
They see your watermelon pick and they were like,
no, they saw Smarter Every Day.
oh, okay.
Yeah, because Smarter Every Day has
like, this guy knows. This guy definitely.
And we occasionally do stuff for all the other, like, we're kind of the slow motion sound design specialists as well. So we've done stuff for the slow-mo guys, Veritasium.
Any games come with their, like, well, I mean, bullet time might not be your market, but some sort of...
That would be a different thing.
Like a time-based game.
Yeah, we actually had to bail on a Universe Sandbox 2. It was just too hard.
Yeah.
Because it has like infinite slowdown, infinite speed up, and we were working on our own. Our audio tool, Muna, was in its infancy, so we just weren't able to handle it. Basically, it was sad because I love that game and I love that team.
Yeah.
But we just couldn't. They needed a full-time, high-level audio programmer, and we were a part-time, mid-level audio. Like our tool was very much still in development, and they needed something fully fledged.
Yeah.
And their game is crazy. It's the craziest. They're doing the craziest.
Sounds like it from the title.
The craziest shit with Unity that has maybe ever been done. It's insane.
Are a lot of your projects coming in, like, are you more of a Unity house?
So we're building a Unity-based audio tool called Muna that our programmer Maris pitched to me. They didn't even pitch it to me, actually. They just showed me when they were a sound design contractor, that they were working on some stuff in Unity that is actually about basically doing some simple middleware-ish logic. And I just had a rough time with middleware in Contraption because we always had to be on the bleeding edge in Fantastic Contraption with like VR, because it was a Vive launch title. Yeah. And we had to be on the newest Unity all the time. And I was also trying to use these binaural plugins that one of them got bought by Facebook halfway through and support was dropped. But we were already like in too deep and stuff. So I just I had a brief kind of like hate on for middleware, which is, no one in game audio has probably ever said that before. Yeah. I'm over it. Yeah. I still like middleware. I still like it a lot, but I wanted an alternative that we had full control of. Because we run into problems and then we're emailing 2 different companies for support, even though we have like a hard deadline coming up. And in some cases, like, the audio is just completely fucking broken, doesn't even play a sound.
Yeah, that can be really stressful. I can't imagine. Yeah,
so I wanted something where we made it, and if something is super broken, then our programmers are just right here, and it's their job to work on it until it's fixed.
And I've been talking to your programmers about it, and it's a really interesting idea because it's shared between games.
Yeah.
Ideally.
Yeah.
Is that always like kind of something your clients are into? Like when you bring it up, or is it?
It's not really shared between games. It's just everybody gets the same tool, and everyone will get the same updates with that tool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's not like everybody's. Yeah, the logic you're not getting. Iconfell's not using Muna, but like Parkitect is not getting Splitter Critter's file name stuff in there. So it's all very specific to Muna. You get Muna files and stuff, but there's no cross game.
Oh, okay.
There's no cross game contamination.
That makes more sense.
There's no cross game contamination.
Yeah, when I was hearing it, it sounded like this audio system within the games that was getting shared between games, and I was like, this sounds nuts. And it being a tool makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, no, it's a tool set, basically.
What? Because not every sound design kind of company has this. What made you kind of look into audio programmers?
It was, again, I guess I was just an opportunist. I saw that Maris had a knack for it, and I was like, hey, maybe would you be interested in not doing sound design anymore and just doing that? Mm-hmm. And they were like, absolutely. So
you hired them
I hired them as an audio programmer,
but
to just do that full time.
But you saw there were sound designers as well.
Yeah.
Which I imagine you think is extremely valuable for an audio programmer.
Yes. Yeah. You have to know what sounds good in order to program for things to sound good. And have an understanding of general audio engineering strategies and science and workflow and stuff like that.
And like how it's going to be created will influence like...
Yeah, well, I mean, everybody's used tools that were made by people, usually free tools online, that were made by people that got an interest in X subject but had never worked professionally in X subject. There's one called Paul Stretch that's a good example, and it does cool stuff, but its interface is obviously done by someone that just never worked in audio. It's so weird and counterintuitive to everything that we're used to working with. Which is kind of funny because Wise is kind of like that too, but they did it intentionally. They were like, we're going to reimagine how sound and games interact, and we're not going to try to make it look like your digital audio workstation. We're not going to try to make it look like anything.
It's going to be its own.
It's going to be its own thing.
Its own thing.
Yeah, but they were really smart about it. Paul Stretch is crazy.
Well, that's probably not a lot of people making Paul Stretch.
No. It was probably one person.
And his name was probably Paul.
I think it was Paul. And the website has, I think the website is a picture of someone with like their head up their own ass or something to just show that it's flexible. It slows sound down infinitely, but it's with digital interpolation. So it's not realistically doing it, but it's just doing it. Like it just sounds super weird. Yeah.
Huh. Weird.
Everything just sounds like a hum when you slow it down infinitely, but...
So is your whole team grown out of like opportunity?
Yeah, I think so. The reason I became an employer was I was never planning on being an employer. I was a contractor, then I was a busy contractor, then I was a busy contractor subcontracting, and then for part-time help, and then I was a busy contractor that needed other contractors full-time all the time. So they just became employees. And that has happened 4 times, and maybe will happen 5 times fairly soon. So,
yeah. Are you always kind of on the hunt?
I'm always keeping tabs on who's good, for sure.
Where do you find that?
And also, well, I run the Sound Designers Meetup group, but I've been slacking on it. But I was running that for years. I'm probably gonna get myself replaced. I've got people I ask. I ask the game audio instructor at VFS. I make myself available for people to send me stuff. Yeah. So people can get in touch with me on Twitter or can get a coffee with me in Vancouver and can just send me their portfolios, and I'm happy to review them. And I feel like I generally know who's got a knack for it.
Yeah, I don't think...
Upon viewing like one, even if they're not good yet, I can usually tell if they've got a nose for it.
Yeah.
Or an ear for it.
And also, I mean, I don't know exactly everybody that's worked here, but it seems like you've hired well.
Yeah, I also take my time, right? Like.
Oh, really?
Everybody that works for me contracts for me for several months beforehand. Like, we have to know that you work well with us and you like how we work, and because everyone here has to be pretty self-motivated. I don't like micromanaging, and I don't think anyone likes to be micromanaged.
Do you leave a lot of the interfacing with the teams to the sound designers themselves?
Yeah, so usually it'll be like M's doing Untitled Goose Game.
Oh, you got that?
Yeah, and they don't even want I don't think that much to do with me at all. They just want to work with them.
Yeah. Well, that's better for you because you don't want to spend your whole day
I don't want to micromanage.
In Trello.
No, but I was also really excited about that game, and I wanted to get.
Yeah.
I wanted a thumbprint on it.
I saw that at that party.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw it. I got to play it for the first time at Fantastic Arcade, and it was like the only game that my wife has ever liked in the past 20 years. And
except for Wonder Song.
Yeah, she kind of likes it.
She loves Wonder Song.
Loves Wonder Song.
Yeah, no, I played it at that party, and it's just like, I think it's really hard to have humor. Like, humor in games is really tough.
Mm-hmm.
And even when you do it, like, even if you make something that's funny, it's really hard to
localize. I don't know if that's what you're going to say, but that is one of the things that's hard to do.
But localization is never easy.
Yeah.
It's always a...
But I feel like humor is extra hard.
Yeah, but...
I guess any kind of emotional nuance can be really difficult.
Yeah. But I was going to say that making it not look like just a joke.
Yeah.
And that expressing something that looks like it would be fun to play.
Yeah.
But it just happens to be funny. Like, it's funny as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And
it's a fun stealth. It's a good stealth game.
And it feels performative.
Yeah.
Like, you want to watch. And I think that's almost like kind of... And not even in a streaming way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in a, like... Funny games that you'd feel like you can be funny in.
Yeah.
And not funny things are happening to you.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, well, and you can be like... And it's just a really good game for laughing. At yourself while you're...
Wow.
While you're playing.
I'm impressed by a lot of your guys' gets, but...
Me too.
That one...
I'm surprised.
Wow.
So yeah, that's M's game. Joey's working on a huge game that we just got publicly announced yesterday.
Congratulations.
Called Godfall with Counterplay Games. They made Duelist. So we did Duelist as well, but this is their follow-up.
Yeah.
And it's massive. It's like a AAA melee, double A, I guess, but like a melee-based online fantasy game. That's been super crazy.
We've
been working on it for a long time. We just get to talk about it now, so that's cool.
Do you look kind of at every one of your clients as something that you're going to be doing long term?
Yeah. This is like really cheesy phrase, but I like to invest in people, not projects. So when Greg showed me the prototype for Wander Song, I was like not even that impressed, but I just loved Greg.
Yeah, and it's turned out a lot better. Wander Song, a much better, very impressive.
And I've also just resigned myself to the fact that I'm not someone that's going to guess which game is going to be good.
Oh, so you're just gonna.
So I'm just like I don't know if Wander Song's going to be good or not, but I know Greg is good, and I know even if Greg doesn't make something good this time, he's going to make something great eventually. Like really great eventually. And we're just lucky that Wander Song was that really great thing this time.
Yeah.
But
the best game Greg will ever make, Wander Song.
Maybe.
Maybe not, but
probably not. He's like 4 years old.
Best game with song in the title?
Sure. Or Wander.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting because you see so many talks
about trying to guess which game is going to be good.
About trying to guess, like, look at stats and look at analytics and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't like it from indie publishers.
I've really tried it myself a bunch of times, and I failed so many times. And invested, like we did it with Viking Squad. We felt like it was a shoe-in. Nobody had made a good. Yeah. Nobody made a visually appealing brawler since Castle Crashers.
Yeah. Well, I think Scott Pilgrim's pretty good.
Oh, was it? Okay, yeah.
Sounds pretty well. Doesn't sound. I don't know. If
I would have felt like it should have sounded good.
I can't speak. It sounds good, but it's got a little bop.
Yeah,
it's got a little chiptune bop to it.
But that didn't go how we wanted. Fossil Echo was probably the best looking platformer in a very, very long time. And that didn't go very well either.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's really interesting. You're just removing yourself from it. You're just like, I'm going to bet on the people.
Yeah. My bets are on the people now. I'm always going to be speculating about game performance, and I'm going to obviously try because I think it's cool and I love spreadsheets.
Yeah.
But it's definitely people first.
Yeah, and also like long term, assuming everybody puts out something that eventually does well.
Yeah, it gets real. I'm sure that's not the case.
That's not the case,
and that it's a lot more depressing than that.
But assuming that, because they're not like, even Wonder Song is not like a terrible. No matter how ugly the demo was. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not an idea. That
well, I think that's the other thing is that I gave up on assuming that I could intuit if it was a good game or not based on a prototype. I'm not a designer, so I had to stop pretending I knew those things.
And also long term, you're going to be working with them.
Hopefully,
long term, you're going to be working with those people.
Ideally. I don't know if Greg's sick of me after 110 songs. I wouldn't be surprised.
You got 4 other people you can get sick of, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You can move around, but you have that familiarity and that's a really kind of, I think, a beautiful way of doing it.
Yeah, well, one benefit of doing what we do is
that... And then you'll enjoy the time with them. Yeah. I mean, people might change, but I imagine the people you believe in...
We don't have any clients that we don't, want to hang out with.
Yeah.
Everybody I work with is friggin' sweet.
And you're going to be going to the shows and...
Yeah.
Kind of doing all that stuff.
Yeah. I'm having a good time right now. I'm enjoying where my career has found itself.
Which, as much as you want to be absurdly wealthy, having a good time...
Yeah.
Paying rent.
Yeah. We've all seen Scarface.
I saw a real estate listing.
We've all seen Casino.
I saw a real estate listing in Vancouver, and the place was very... I saw it online, so a friend sent it to me, and it was very, for lack of a better term, gaudy. Is that even an acceptable word?
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's a lot of places in Vancouver that have a lot of brass. Or gold plating or mirrors on things.
Yeah.
Or in South Surrey, there's a lot of mirrors.
This is more dark, a lot of leather.
Okay. The big puffy leather couches.
Yeah. And the place had a bar a bar built into the kitchen. And they had TVs everywhere. And the TVs, they photoshopped Scarface.
Really?
Onto the real estate ad, yeah. Somebody would look at this and be like...
This'll fit.
It's like Scarface. I want to get this. I want to get this place, not a Miami mansion.
Yeah. Weird. Photoshopped. That's awesome.
Photoshopped too.
Yeah.
They didn't want to pay for the Netflix DVD or whatever. However you watch Scarface nowadays.
Right.
How do you find the new projects? Are they reaching out to you?
We're luckily at a space now where people have been reaching out to us. Or sometimes people will just ping us on Twitter and we'll be like, yeah, we do that. And people are kind of, it's happened at least once where we've gotten a job because someone else, I guess we have fans. Someone else will be like, hey, you should hire a Shell in the Pit. Just not even always people in games or something. Being a technical audio studio has helped us from that perspective.
Yeah. And have you been saying no?
Occasionally.
Because you're too busy?
Yeah, occasionally. Or if it's a game that... If it's something that no one on the team... Because we have pretty niche interests as well, If someone does come to us with a hyper-violent whatever, we wouldn't have done only Russia Bleed... Or Mother Russia Bleeds, So that's not something that we would have taken on. Could have recommended other people for it.
Yeah.
So we always, I say no frequently, but always with a recommendation.
That's good.
Yeah. I always try to pass them.
Do you spread out those recommendations, or do you just kind of have the best option and then just work your way down quality, or do you?
A lot of the time it'll be budget related too, because if it's someone that's just out of school and they're like, yeah, we're doing an indie game and we have absolutely no money, I'll be like, I've got the student for you, or here I've got an eager new grad that I think is pretty good.
Yeah.
That you should collaborate with and grow together with. Because that's kind of what it's about. It's not about you want to grow with other people rather than try to get skip grades, I guess. That's what I tell a lot of people is, if you're at conventions, don't go expecting if you meet a famous person, don't expect that you get to just like be friends with them. Mm-hmm. You want to be friends with the future them.
What's the most famous game developer
I've met? Man, I just don't really think of game developers as that famous. Met Rami like 4 times. He doesn't remember me. He never remembers me. But
I mean, he's
Chris Barassa. They're all our friends. They're all my friends.
I guess Rami counts, but he's everywhere, so it doesn't feel special.
Yeah, I've shook Tim Schafer's hand, and I had no idea who he was at the time.
My ex did that.
Yeah,
she thought it was somebody from.
I noticed.
I thought it was somebody from Giant Bomb.
Yeah, I think I was like. He was coming around because I was at the Northways booth.
Yeah.
Helping them out, and he came around to say hi to them.
Oh yeah, he probably met all sorts.
And so I was almost like, I could tell that he had a bit of a posse. So I was like, okay, he must be someone. But I was also like, the Northways must be someone. If this person wants to come to say hi to them.
Northways are popular, man.
They're popular. I love them.
And yeah, the thing I did recently is David Jaffe's studio closed.
Okay.
And it was actually
what studio was it?
They made that Drawn to Death.
Oh, okay.
But it's been really interesting to watch because they like sold a bunch of like old Twisted Metal memorabilia and like did a bunch of stuff, and he started showing like pitch decks. Okay. He started showing what he was sending to the publisher, which was interesting because it looked way better than
the final product.
Than the final product. Like his ideas were like kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like he was showing those, but he started doing live stream. He's basically like.
I've heard of this. Yeah.
And I
think Kaylee told me about this.
I went in the chat and and just mentioned that like. I think he mentioned Darkest Dungeon, and I was like,
"Cool.
Hey, I worked on that game. That's really cool." He talked about it, and he was like, "What?" Like he was kind of surprised.
Right.
Because it was not a lot of people in the chat. It was like 16 people in the chat, and I was like,
I think Kaylee did something similar. Yeah. Like also like it was asking him a bunch of questions in the chat or something.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
And then we had Ken Levine come by the booth.
Oh, okay.
But talk to the one person who didn't know who Ken Levine was.
Nice. That would have been me. I don't know what he looks like.
He looks like Tyler. Yeah. So you're just gonna work on games that fit your.
That are
in your bag.
We have an aesthetic. Yeah. We have an aesthetic, and we have a pretty good idea of what it is.
You're gonna work with the same people you worked with before.
And more. Yeah. And we do go outside of the aesthetic occasionally, but usually
it'll be unique
when it's a good business decision.
Yeah. And then what's gonna make you grow?
Well, I don't want to grow too much. I feel like the fun indies that we work on won't work with me anymore if I become a huge studio.
How big could you get?
I don't know how big we can get before that happens.
You doubled. You're not that big.
Yeah. As a sound studio, that's gigantic.
4 seems huge.
4 is big.
You and Pua, I don't understand.
Hexany is like 12.
Oh, okay.
And they're down in LA.
Yeah.
And I chat with Richard a lot.
Yeah.
And I think they might actually have trouble getting some indies sometimes because it's intimidating to be working with a team that big. But I kind of consider myself more like an agent for sound designers. Because basically a big part of my job is just taking care of the money stuff, getting the gigs, dealing with the contracts, and that's something that everybody that works for me hates. And that's why they're working for me. Everybody that works for me could be
cool sounds.
Yeah, everybody that works for me could be a successful freelancer.
Yeah.
On their own if they wanted to be, but they just hate the business crap. So that's my job.
And it's nice to be able to just work.
Yeah.
And not worry about that stuff.
Yeah.
And you get more opportunity to meet different people.
And it is super important to me that everyone's not just like cranking out sounds all day too. That's something that I found is pretty valuable from the ethical employment standpoint.
Yeah.
Being like, we just have an ongoing list of not sound stuff that needs doing anytime you just need a mental break. You can go fix up the website a bit or maybe work on a sound library instead of Just because sometimes you're just in middleware for weeks. Sometimes you're just editing dialogue for weeks, and that's what burns people out.
How do you look at team bonding?
I don't know. We just do it by working. I don't really think we don't like. We went go-karting. That was fun, but we were also recording. So
Yeah.
the nice thing about sound is you can always do team bonding as part of a recording trip. But it's not something I feel the need to focus on.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't want people having to do that in their leisure time.
The time I had to do it, it was weird.
Yeah.
It was like really weird.
Yeah, it feels weird to me, and I have no desire to do it.
Yeah. It's better to go to a thing.
Yeah. And
Go to a convention.
I don't see any reason to like try to force people to be friends either. You know, it's not about. That was another big thing for me is when I'm hiring, I'm not like potential best friend is not what I'm hiring for.
Interesting.
Which a lot of people don't like. A lot of people are like, well, one of the most important things when I hire is, can I spend 8 hours in a room with you? Like, do I like you? And I'm not saying I don't like my employees, but it's not the highest thing on my list. The most important thing is whether they can do a job or not.
Yeah.
And do it reliably and
also removing that.
Like being pleasant to work with is fine, but I think it's also important for me to get called out on my bullshit from time to time.
Yeah.
From people that disagree with me on things.
I think that's important too. I think there's a bit of like you want to have people, not everybody obviously, that'd be a terrible place to work, but you want to have people that are willing to say things
to stir the pot a bit. Maris
maybe not stir the
calls
pot.
me out all the time.
But,
not stir the pot,
but we'll
challenge my pre-existing assumptions.
Yeah, or like I don't care who it is. If I don't think this idea is right, I'm gonna say something.
So.
Like those type of people are, I think, beneficial to have.
Yeah,
sprinkled in.
Totally.
And
what's funny is that I'm like not that person either. I'm pretty like cowed to authority a lot of the time. But we've like done well with. What was I gonna say?
Wonder Song. It sounds great.
It's good.
Yeah, streaming on Spotify.
Yeah.
Are you gonna be on Tidal?
Pardon?
You could be on Tidal.
What do you mean?
The Jay-Z owned music service that people.
Oh yeah, it'll be on Tidal. I just noticed that when I submitted my distributor.
People who don't listen to hip hop, like you want to piss me off on a tech podcast.
Yeah.
Make fun of Tidal.
Okay.
Because
Do you love it?
They have 444.
Oh, okay.
One of the best.
And no one else does, huh?
No. And it's one of the best hip hop albums ever made. And it would be and it's so good. It'd be the type of thing that I would be like, if somebody's like, "Hey man, like I want to listen to a hip hop."
Yeah.
I would actually maybe do that because it's like mature and it's like there's stuff about building a business and stuff about like family and infidelity, and it's like a very mature thing, but still is as hip hop as anything.
Right.
And when there is music that's exclusive to Tidal, I subscribe. I do unsubscribe afterwards.
Oh.
But,
how much is it?
That's the same as everything.
It's the same as everything else.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and they have video content too. They have their own like TV shows and stuff. But
okay.
I think it's a bit weird. The streaming landscape is a bit weird to me.
It's very weird.
Yeah.
There are so many of them. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's.
I know the thing that gets the least amount of, because I do a lot of make weird T-shirts, games, my travel photos.
Yeah.
The thing that gets the least amount of traction, going, "Hey, I made a Spotify playlist."
Yeah.
that gets the lowest of all the...
Yeah, and that was kind of funny is my distributor told me they wanted me to make playlists because it helps you get on playlists, which I thought was a bit weird. So I did, kind of at their behest. Yeah. I think they were like, they want you, like Spotify will favor artists that are also using the platform for playlisting. I don't think it did anything.
No. Well, I was going to say that...
Because, my playlist has like 40 followers.
The reason I do it is because transferring music is like a pain in the ass.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I don't want to be carrying around like hard drives and like host them somewhere. And
so you just do private playlists?
Well,
they can't be public.
What I do is I listen to them, but I can listen to music while I work. You can't really.
No.
I mean, maybe when you're
I watch bad horror movies with subtitles.
Yeah.
And just glance over from time to time.
But, yeah, so, like, I can listen to music and then I can build these playlists kind of while I work.
Yeah.
And I've verified them because I've listened to them once a week for 30 weeks.
Right.
Or something. I'm like, this is sequenced how I want.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of a way of keeping track of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, exciting times.
Exciting times. Having a good time. Seems like you're having a good time.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what the next Red Hook thing is.
Yeah, it's gonna be a bit.
Yeah.
Or at least
I assumed
or at
as
least
much. I haven't seen The Office yet.
Oh really?
Yeah.
You didn't come to our office morning?
I don't think I got invited, Keir.
Yeah, you did.
I think I slipped through the cracks, or maybe I just missed it. I might have just missed it.
I don't know. Invites, like, the people at Red Hook.
I'm not very good at Facebook.
The people at Red Hook are pretty weird about invites.
Yeah.
Like, it's a lot of, like, if you're not there or in the right message group or, like,
Yeah.
nobody tells you, but everybody's always invited.
Right.
It's just the way that people are. And,
Oh, no. I know.
like, Chris doesn't have Facebook.
I know I would have been fine
and
showing up.
And all this stuff. But yeah, you should come by the office. It's
Yeah, Olympic Village.
yeah, ish. I mean, I'm not
Ish.
gonna dox.
You're right.
Office.
Let's not dox the office. You actually have those fans. You have those fans.
Yeah, but it's and there's a lot more people in it now,
Right.
which is nice.
How many more people?
I mean, we got 6 people with desks right now.
Oh, wow.
And Tyler's got his guest desk, and then we there's some other surprises.
Jeff's got his little room. Yeah.
Which I'm not gonna.
Oh, sweet.
I don't know how.
I don't.
Board. I don't know if our office managers listen to the podcast.
Right.
But yeah, thanks for being on the question bus.
This was fun. I waited so long. Do you want to?
Well, you don't start the show with a showstopper.
Pardon?
You don't start the show with a showstopper, right?
No.
Like, I specifically went out there to not interview Vancouver people.
Right.
Because I could fucking fill a whole season full of Vancouver greats.
Yeah.
Right? And there's no point doing that while I can get enough podcasts out traveling.
It would just become the Vancouver Game Developer Podcast.
Well, I haven't had many repeat people. Nicholas McDonald, you're familiar with.
He's been on twice?
He's like a friend of the show.
He's a good time.
Ty Taylor's friend of the show.
Right.
I don't know anybody else that's friend of the show.
I bet Nick's words per minute is triple mine. That's an audio analysis I would like to do. He has a lot of thoughts going at once.
And a lot of the time it has nothing to do with games is what we talk about.
No.
Yeah. But do you know how the podcast normally ends?
No.
It normally ends with me going, thanks for being on the question bus, which I already did, which I try not to tell them the name of the podcast. So I get a little bit of
what?
And then I ask if there's anything you want to plug.
Wandersong, buy it on September 27th. Or after 27th. Or any day after. Buy the album.
No, buy a week one.
Yeah.
That's important. Day one, ideally.
Please.
Which is?
September 27th, 2018.
Probably 10 a.m.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
I'll be over at Grace.
It'll be out.
We'll watching streams.
What are you guys doing for a lunch?
He's house sitting for Matt Thorson right now, so we're gonna go hang out there.
Okay.
And watch streams. Oh, we're gonna have a launch party, which you're invited to.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, no, I already know about that.
Yeah.
I didn't know you.
We just don't know where it is yet.
Yeah.
I think. I really hope Greg has booked something by now.
I don't know if he booked. I think it's like a house thing.
He got a house?
Well, he lives in the party house normally, and it's.
We need more room than that, I think.
Really?
We have 100 people coming, yeah.
100 people are coming?
Yeah, there's 100 RSVPs. No, 80. There's 80 RSVPs. So we might actually have to rent a hall or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, there's a couple.
The Northways have offered their place as well, so. But it's going to be a banger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.